Sheriff, how were you guys tipped off, and how were they able to get away with this?
Well, that's a very good question. We're still trying to get to the bottom of this, but as it happens in these types of cases, the ownership, in this case the board of directors from the Humane Society, noticed that there was some improprieties, maybe some money missing in an account that should have had a lot more money, and brought it to our attention. And we started digging, and fairly quickly we found out that something was not right, and that kind of got the ball rolling. How something like this could happen, it's the same anywhere. You know, you have people that are involved and for a period of time do a good job and earn trust, and as the organization changes, they get more responsibilities, and unbeknownst to the organization, they take advantage of those responsibilities. And that, coupled with a criminal mentality or mindset, some of the things that were done, the average person wouldn't think about, because they would never take food out of the mouths of puppies. But this individual obviously was a pretty good actress. She's basically showing tears about a burglary that happened when she at that point had already taken $300,000 from the organization. So hopefully that answers your question, but we deal with it all the time, and I guess sometimes we do a too good a job of protecting the public, because you certainly can't tell by looking at these people, and you can't tell by talking to them, because they can be very good actors and actresses.
Sheriff, in the interview room, did she express any remorse?
There was no, they didn't provide any assistance to the investigation.
How would you characterize these people?
Heartless, hence the name of the operation. You know.
Have you been able to recover any of the money up front?
We have been able to seize some bank accounts, and we hope to recover that. Obviously, we have a lot of assets that we've showed you that we've recovered, and we're still working on recovering more assets. If we can show any nexus to the stolen money and that particular item, we're going to do our very best to work with the Humane Society to get that back. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon in these cases that that what you get back are pennies on the dollar, and some of the money that may or may not have been spent on a transformation, we obviously aren't going to be able to get that money back, any food and things like that, but we're going to do our best. Anything that's worth going after, we're going to go after and work with the state attorney and the judges, as well as the Humane Society and any legal counsel they may have, to try to get every penny we possibly can back for them.
Is it possible that she knew the burglary back in April? Or?
We don't have any information that we were actually, the first thing I thought of when I heard about this was she somehow involved, but we were actually able to solve that burglary, and as Mr. Gladstone said, that person was sentenced to prison, and I think had those individuals had any relationship with her, they probably, before going to prison for 8 years, if they would have known about it. So I would venture to say the burglary was totally unrelated to this. And is that a good assumption?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How does this compare to anything you've seen here in the county?
Well, as far as a scheme to defraud, this, I don't know if we've had any larger than this.
I have not.
Yeah, the detective hasn't worked any. This is a big one, and again, to even add a little bit more frustration to it, these nonprofit organizations that do a tremendous service to the community. We all know that you know, unwanted pets, or people who take on responsibilities of pets and don't realize how big a responsibility it is. The Humane Society and other organizations do a great job in assisting getting those pets cared for and to new owners. It's a huge portion of what we do here, and there are people that actually will a tremendous amount of money to these organizations, tens of thousands of dollars sometimes. There's one case where it was well over 6 figures, and it was all diverted to purchase some of these items that were purchased by the suspects. So it's very frustrating.
And we talk about that when you're diverting that amount of money, you know, with a lump sum. Does that make it easier for these individuals to like sweep it under the carpet because it's
You know, I think it's, as I said, they may or may not have had experience doing this in the past, and over a period of time, you know, you get away with it and you keep doing what works, at least temporarily. I don't know if it was necessarily easier for them. I'm actually a little surprised that it went on as long as it did. But again, if you're pretty good at this and you're a good actor or actress, you can convince people that there's no big deal and everything's fine. You know, eventually it gets found out under the light of day, especially when you leave the organization. But it's amazing that they had the guts to do something like this, because it is a tremendous amount. And as Mr. Gladstone said, these are very serious charges. These are extremely serious charges. And I think that's a lesson to any individual that might be out there thinking about doing something similar. A first-degree felony is about as serious as you can get in the criminal justice world, short of a capital felony. And and when it's a true victim like this, and the Humane Society is a true victim, they weren't putting themselves in a high-risk lifestyle. I think the criminal justice system is going to seek to get justice in this case. I do want to say also that I was talking with my Sergeant Galarza with the Economic Crimes Unit, as well as the detective. I think going forward, we're going to try to, this case is, we're going to be busy over the next several weeks working on this to try to wrap it up. But as we go forward, we're going to try to develop some training, maybe for our local nonprofits, particularly the board of directors, and talk to them separately from any other employees. And much like the Humane Society, the board of directors is not paid. They have a very small staff, a handful of people that are paid oftentimes. But it's important for us to talk to the board of directors and say, here are some things you can do that will prevent something like this from happening. So we're going to try to develop some board training to help do some crime prevention in this particular area going forward. So.
Is it safe to characterize the female as the mastermind of this?
I'm sorry, the female.
To characterize the female as
Yeah, I think obviously we had enough information to charge her now husband, previously boyfriend. So we believe that he was involved. But I think that she, between what we see going on, she was obviously the person associated with the Humane Society. He was not directly associated. And that, coupled with some of the previous tax liens, I would venture to say she was at least the main player in this. So.
How long was she with the Humane Society?
I'm sorry?
How long was she with the Humane Society?
She actually started with them in November 2018? November of 2018, and she left in August of last year. But we actually have found evidence that she was still being able to manipulate some money that was coming in. So even after she left, which is really ironic. So
The Humane Society obviously came forward, but what did they say the red flags were?
well, as I said, there was one particular account, if I'm not mistaken, that did not have the amount of money in it that they thought it should have. And so they realized something had occurred. So.
Do you anticipate any other arrests, or is this?
We have been looking into it, and up until a day or so ago, we thought they might have had some assistance, but since then, we've come to the conclusion that those people have been very cooperative with us.